Well, some views, some developments in News Corp's hacking scandal, also Harry Potter's record weekend at the box office, at least two subjects that we're going to cover with David Bank. He is an analyst with RBC Capital Markets. He ranks as a Bloomberg best. That means he's one of the most accurate analysts out there on media stocks. David, thanks so much for coming in, talking to us about those weekend's developments. We have to start with News Corp. We just heard from a portfolio manager at GAMCO, Larry Haverty, talking about the breakup value, saying if this happens to News Corp, could be worth, he actually put a price tag, $20–$25 a share, more than what News Corp is trading at now. How likely, first of all, is a breakup scenario in your view for News Corp?
Well, I can't believe you skipped the part in Harry Potter where they went into the phone hacking.
Yeah, we're going to get into that.
Look, I think the first thing to do is put the entire issue into some financial perspective, right? The newspaper business overall for News Corp is about 10% of News Corp's total operating income base. That in itself is, it's certainly material, but it's not. It's a lot less than people would guess.
But almost that could make people question Murdoch's judgment even more if such a small chunk is now responsible for damaging the brand.
So, and I guess arguably making it even more painful, the UK newspaper business itself is only about 3% of the total OI. And the News of the World business, which was a segment of the UK business, was negligible. I think it was 20 million of OI is the number we're kind of assuming right now. So overall, grand scheme of things, the UK newspaper business is just not like an enormous driver of News Corp's business. So, and then I would say, before we get to the breakup, based on the fundamentals themselves, the stock is, at the point where we think it's pretty, I don't want to say ridiculously undervalued, but it's getting close to the point of being ridiculously undervalued. The issue is...
Yeah, it's 12 times future earnings, and if you look at Time Warner, if you look at Disney, that's 15 times, 17 times earnings.
Yeah, we think it's, on a forward basis, we actually think it is now trading on a calendar year 12, cheaper than 12 times forward earnings. So it's trading at a pretty massive discount. The issue is, when a stock is not trading on fundamentals and it's trading on headlines, it's very difficult in a world where particularly hedge fund investors have to write a monthly letter at the end of every month explaining why there's been volatility in a stock. It's really difficult to invest in that stock, and I think that's the biggest problem with the stock right now, because the fundamentals of the company are actually pretty strong. And where there's an issue is actually a pretty small part of this business.
It's a small part of the business, but it's hard to negate how much this has hurt the brand. I mean, what if the FCC gets involved and starts looking at the Fox cable channels? I mean, is that likely in your view?
Well, the Fox cable channels aren't really regulated by the FCC. What's regulated is anything that's been given public airwaves, and so that would be the Fox TV stations or the Fox broadcast network. And, again, I would say 55% of the OI of News Corp is driven by its cable news channel or cable channel business, FX, Fox News Channel, a bunch of other channels. And the broadcast business is a lot smaller, but it's still an important part of the business. And, we don't really know exactly what would happen. I think there's very little precedent, but it would seem very much a remote possibility that this issue would somehow spill into the FCC taking away the licenses of Rupert Murdoch's, operations for the U.S. broadcasters. I think a pretty de minimis probability at this point.
All right, I can't let you go, David, without asking about the phone hacking from Hogwarts or Harry Potter's record weekend. I mean, Warner Brothers. Well, this is a Warner Brothers record that had held it from The Dark Knight. Harry Potter blew it away. What does this mean for Warner Brothers? Where's their next franchise going to come from?
Yeah, that's a great question. Parting is definitely very sweet sorrow for these guys. I mean, this was an incredible performance. I think, they're looking at a Superman reboot, and while Christopher Nolan is done, supposedly, with Batman, one has to imagine Warner's isn't going to be done with Batman. So what we can say for sure is it ain't going to be the Green Lantern, that's for sure.
No one really has good things to say. I have to say, I haven't seen it, but critics still seem to like it so much. So Harry Potter, is it worth it? Did you see it?
It was just too nice a weekend to go to the movies.
There you go. Fair enough, David. Thank you so much. David Bank from RBC Capital Markets right here with us in the newsroom talking about Murdoch and Harry Potter.